Alright guys, in today's video we are once again going to be discussing the PlayStation 5, and we're going to be going over two interesting pieces of information that I came across. The first has to do with a developer talking about the tech inside of the PlayStation 5 and how it's going to bring games a step closer to achieving film-like VFX, essentially saying that the graphics we're going to see, or what we can expect to see graphics-wise in the PlayStation 5, is actually going to be very close to what we've come to expect in pre-rendered cutscenes, which is really cool. We're going to discuss that, but we're also going to be discussing how Shuhei Yoshida recently went on record saying that the PlayStation 5 is apparently, according to what developers are telling him, the easiest console they've ever developed for. They're having the easiest time ever creating games for the PS5, and that is some really good news, so I want to highlight that as well. But starting here with what this developer had to say about the PS5's tech, says IO Interactive lighting artist Stefania Hernandez has said that the PlayStation 5's ray tracing technology will help to create more detailed 3D environments utilizing accurate light bounces, reflections, and shadows. Speaking to Games Radar, Hernandez explained the difference between current gen and next gen technology in terms of realism. With the current generation tech, a lot of the in-game reflections are made using reflection spheres, which are not very accurate. When placing a light in a scene, we add additional light bounces to make it look believable. The new ray tracing technology produces accurate light bounces, reflections, and shadows, bringing out many of the details in 3D environments. This makes the overall picture look and feel much more realistic. Lighting plays a big role in setting the mood and feel of a game, and I believe that this can help towards a more immersive gaming experience for the player. I believe that we are nearing a point where it will be possible to get a visual gaming experience much closer to the one currently achieved only by pre-rendered cutscenes. Hernandez's thoughts were echoed by Ubisoft Toronto 3D artist Marco Bartera. According to him, if ray tracing is utilized properly, we can expect to see more photographic lighting and surfacing consumers are used to seeing in VFX shots of films or animated movies. Hernandez went on to say that the game artists are excited to work on next-gen hardware, particularly because the upgraded technology allows them to make more complex lighting setups. So that sounds really exciting to me. Essentially what we have here is a developer letting us know that what we can come to expect with the PlayStation 5 in terms of having that ray tracing at a hardware level, which Mark Cerny did confirm, is much more realistic lighting, which in turn will make the graphics just overall significantly improved. Now obviously what we are all expecting with the PS5 at the bare minimum is better graphics, but I think some people are not aware of just how much better these graphics are going to look, how much closer we're actually going to get to achieving this like real true photorealism, to the point where it's even surpassing what we would consider like the uncanny valley here. So it's actually really exciting stuff. It's going to be awesome to see what specifically Sony's first party developers do with the PS5, because just seeing what they've been able to achieve with the base model PS4 and especially the PS4 Pro this generation, I can't even begin to imagine what games are going to look like coming from, say, Naughty Dog or Sony Santa Monica or Insomniac or Guerrilla running on the PlayStation 5. It's going to be incredibly exciting and I believe incredibly impressive as well. That's what I'm expecting. So yeah, the other thing I want to touch on here is how Shuhei Yoshida did an interview recently with Dengenki PlayStation Magazine, and he was talking about what developers have been telling him about making their games for the PlayStation 5. And what they're telling him is that they have never had such an easy time making games for a console. And the reason why this is kind of important to highlight and actually really good news is what it ultimately means is that games we're going to be getting for the PlayStation 5 are going to be very well optimized. This is something we saw this generation with the PS4, where Sony learned the hard way that you need to make your hardware as easy to develop for as possible, because what they learned with the PlayStation 3, even though it was a much more powerful console, it was a very difficult console to develop for, and that is no secret. And so while a lot of developers were able to get their games onto PS3, they were not able to optimize them nearly as well as you saw with, say, the 360, because the 360 was much easier to develop for. So Sony learned their lesson the hard way, and they made sure with the PS4 it was going to be easy to develop for. And apparently with the PlayStation 5, they are following that and trying to make it even easier to develop for the PlayStation 5. And according to what Shuhei Yoshida is hearing from developers, that is exactly the case here. It's the easiest console for them to develop for. It's the easiest time they're ever having creating a game for a console. And what that's ultimately going to mean for us as the gamers, anybody who's going to buy PlayStation 5, is you can expect all of the games, or pretty much 99% of the games that you're going to get on PS5, to be very well optimized. What that ultimately means: better looking games, games with less bugs, games with less glitches, games with less issues, better running games in general, and that is always a good thing. So that's why I wanted to highlight this, because it just goes to show that Sony is doing things right with the PlayStation 5. They are certainly not making the same type of mistakes they made going from PS2 to PS3. They learned their lesson the hard way, and they are ensuring that the transition to PS5 for not only gamers and consumers is going to be seamless, but it's going to be seamless for developers as well. So some really good stuff here all around. I'm incredibly excited for the PS5, as you guys can tell, and I'm going to do my best going forward to keep up with all of the news and information and relay any what I believe to be significant information that developers like today, what we're going over, have been revealing about the PS5 and what to expect. So let me know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. I will be really interested to see what you guys have to say. What are you expecting graphics-wise when it comes to the PS5, and are you feeling good about what this specific developer is saying about lighting and how it's going to be a dramatic difference based off of what we're seeing in games when it comes to the lighting now versus what we're going to see with the next generation consoles? And what do you think about Shuhei Yoshida and his comments on developers having a very easy time making their games for PlayStation 5? Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it, or if you found it informative. It really helps it out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.